ahead, stay inspired. Follow us on all our social media platforms. In the heart of Matayoko, a small town in Ghana's Greater Accra region, lived Akol, a woman whose strength was as undeniable as the burdens she carried. Twice married and twice betrayed, Akol had sworn off love. Her life revolved around her bright 8-year-old daughter, Essie, and her small provision shop. To the townspeople, she was a symbol of resilience, a woman who, despite her past, faced life with quite a determination. Each morning, Akos woke before dawn. She braided Essie's hair, prepared her for school, and opened her shop. This is where she spent most of her time, greeting customers with a warm smile. Behind her cheerful demeanor, however, were the scars of her past memory. Take a moment to share, subscribe, and like. Of 2 failed marriages that had left her worried and cautious. The shop was more than a livelihood. It was her sanctuary. The steady hum of business and the laughter of Essie brought her comfort in a world where she had often been unkind. One humid afternoon, Akos decided to visit her closest friend, Anita. Anita had been her rock during the storms of her life, offering advices and comfort. But as Akos approached Anita's house, her attention was drawn to a sleek car parked outside. A rare sight in Matayoko. Inside, Anita greeted her warmly. Akos, you are just in time. I want you to meet someone. Sitting in the living room was a tall, well-dressed man with an easy smile. This is George, Anita said. He is a businessman and an old friend of mine. George extended his hand. It's a pleasure to meet you, Akos. Anita has told me a lot about you. Akos nodded politely, but George's gaze lingered, making her uneasy. His charm was evident, and throughout the evening, he directed his attention towards her, complimenting her strength and beauty. After George left, Anita leaned in with a teasing grin. Do you see how he looked at you? He's interested, Akos. And why not? You are smart, beautiful, and hardworking. Akos sighed. Anita, I've been hurt before. I can't risk another heartbreak. My life is about Essie and my shop. Not everyone is the same, Anita pressed. George is a kind and successful man. He could give you the stability you deserve. Akosia shook her head. I don't need a man to give me stability, Anita. I have learned to stand on my own. But George didn't give up. He visited Ako's shop regularly, bringing gifts for Essie and offering to help with supplies. His persistence was matched with Anita's encouragement. You deserve happiness, Akos, Anita would say. Don't let fear hold you back. Bit by bit, Akos's defenses crumbled. She began to believe that George might be different. After months of courtship, she accepted his proposal, and they were married in a modest ceremony. At first, life with George was everything Akos had hoped for. He invested in her shop, making her more successful than ever. He treated Essie with so much kindness, helping her with homework and attending to her school events. For the first time in years, Akosia felt a sense of security, but beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form. George's behavior began to change. He grew controlling, questioning Akosia's every move and criticizing her friends. His kindness towards Essie turned to indifference. Take a moment to share, subscribe, and like. Then, hostility. One evening, Akos found Essie sobbing in her room. "Mama, George yelled at me for playing outside. He said I was embarrassing him." Akos's heart broke. She confronted George. "What would you yell at Essie? She's just a child. She needs discipline," George snapped. "You spoil her too much." As the days turned into weeks, George's temper flared more often. He began isolating Akos from her friends and family, dictating how she should run her shop and dismissing her concerns. Desperate for support, Akos confided in Anita. "George isn't who I thought he was. I'm miserable, Anita." Anita's response stunned her. "Marriage isn't easy, Akos. Be patient. You've already been divorced twice. What will people think if you leave again?" The weight of those words crushed Akos. But the ultimate betrayal came when he discovered that Anita was having an affair with George. Oh, Anita, the one she thought she could trust, had been encouraging her to stay in the marriage to protect her own secret. Akos stormed into her home after leaving Anita's house, her anger simmering beneath the surface. She found George sitting in the living room, casually sipping on a glass of wine. "George," she began, with her voice trembling, "why would you do this to me? Why betray me with my closest friend?" George's face darkened. He set the glass down with deliberate care. "What nonsense are you talking about, Akos? Don't pretend, George. I know about you and Anita." She shot back, with her voice rising. He stood, towering over her. "And who told you this? Anita?" He snapped. "I warned you about spreading lies about our marriage, Akos. Now, even strangers are calling me to complain that you are ruining my name. You think you can shame me, eh?" Before Akos could reply, George's rage boiled over. He struck her across the face, and she stumbled backwards. "You will learn to keep your mouth shut," he growled. That night, George dragged Akos to their storage room, threw her inside, and locked the door. "You will stay here until you learn your place. No water, no food, no daughter." Akos banged on the door, her cries for help echoing in the small dark space. Days passed, and her voice grew hoarse from screaming. Hunger gnawed at her stomach, and thirst burned her throat. Oh. She heard faint whispers of Essie's voice outside, but George had kept her daughter away, claiming her mother was being punished. I mean, imagine. What Akos didn't know was that Anita had called George the moment she left the house, warning him that Akos might act out. It wasn't the first time Anita had betrayed her under the guise of friendship. George's cruelty knew no bounds. Someday, he would lock Akosa's shop for weeks without an explanation, spreading rumors that she was using the business as a front to lure men. "You think I don't know?" he sneered. "You are just like all the others, spending my money while disgracing me." Other times, George refused to pay Essie's school fee or beat the little girl over trivial matters. Reports of Essie's injury reached Akos through whispers from sympathetic teachers, but George's bribes silenced any formal complaints. In secret, Akos sought help from lawyers. Some turned out to be traitors, feeding information back to George. Take a moment to share, subscribe, and like. Others who genuinely wanted to help faced threat, forcing them to abandon her case. "You think you can outsmart me, eh?" George would taunt whenever he found out about her attempt. "No lawyer can save you, Ako. You are just another useless woman, draining my wealth without giving anything back. You are very lucky I even let you stay in my house." Each failed attempt only worsened Akosa's situation. George's punishment grew harsher. By the day, denying her access to the shop, withholding money for food, and spreading lies about her to the community. The walls of their home became Akosa's prison. Every move she made was under George's watchful eye, and every whispered plea for help seemed to find its way back to him. Yet, even in the face of despair, Akos clung to the hope that one day she and Essie would escape. One day, while riding in a crowded trotto, Akos overheard a conversation between two women. "There's a lawyer in Accra," one said. "She helped my sister leave her abusive husband." "What's her name?" "Ajua. Her office is near Old Post Office." Akos clung to that name like a lifetime. The next day, she traveled to Accra and found Lawyer Ajua's office. Akos poured out her story, her voice trembling with emotion. "You are brave for seeking help," Lawyer Ajua said. "We will fight this together. Don't worry." George used his wealth and influence to delay the proceeding, but Lawyer Ajua was relentless. Witnesses came forward, and evidence of George's abuse and financial misconduct began to surface. Despite George's threats, Akos stood firm. "I am not afraid of you anymore," she told him. When Akos met Lawyer Ajua, she was a shadow of her former self. Lawyer Ajua, a strong and kind lawyer for women's rights, listened carefully to Akos' story. "Hey, you've been through so much," Lawyer Ajua gently said. "You are brave for coming here. This won't be easy, but I will stand by you." Soon, George found out about Akos' plans to take him to court. Furious, he decided to use his power and money to stop her. George started by trying to ruin Lawyer Ajua's reputation. He spread lies about her work, bribed officials to slow her down and even sent threats. One day, Lawyer Joa arrived at her office to find the window smashed and a note that read, "Stay out of this or you will regret it." He pressured Lawyer Joa's colleague to avoid her and even threatened to have her banned from practicing law. Hey, he claimed she was helping her cause, lied to ruin his name. Lawyer Joe refused to give up. She reported the threat to the police and kept working. As the court dates got closer, George's actions became more dangerous. George sent men to follow our cause and scare anyone willing to testify against him. Fearing for our cause and her daughter, Essie, Lawyer Joa made a bold decision. "You can't stay at home anymore," Lawyer Joa told our cause. "It's not safe for you and Miss You." Leaving George's house felt risky, but staying there felt so much worse. That night, packed a few belongings and secretly moved with AC to Lawyer Joa's home. And even after Akos had left, George didn't stop. He sent letters to Ajua, calling her a liar and threatened her. The letter read, "You will lose everything if you keep helping her." But despite the threats, Lawyer Ajua remained strong. "He is scared because he knows we have the truth," she told Akos. But Akos felt guilty. Maybe I should drop the kid," she said one night. "I don't want to put you in danger." "No, Akos," Lawyer Ajua said firmly. "This isn't just for you. It's for every woman who has suffered in silence, and you are stronger than you think." Akos. After months of fighting, the day of the court ruling arrived. The courtroom was packed with people who had heard Akosia's story and wanted justice. George looked confident at first, but as Lawyer Joa presented evidence of his abuse and crimes, his confidence faded. Witnesses, including brave neighbors, testified against him. Lawyer Joa showed that George had used his power to harm others and control Akos. The judge ruled in favor of Akos. George was sentenced to jail, and Akos got full custody of Essie and parts of George's assets. As Akos and Essie left the courthouse, years of pain seemed to melt away. "Mama, are we free now?" Essie asked, holding Akosia's hands. "Yes, my love," Akos said, with tears rolling down her cheeks. "We are free." From that day, Akosia became a symbol of hope for other women in her town. Her courage showed that no matter how hard life gets, you can rise, rebuild, and find freedom. Thank you for watching. Follow Derba Tales on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for updates and more amazing stories. See you next time.